Hey everyone, so in this video I'm going to show you guys how to turn a 12 volt Gator, little kids battery operated John Deere XUV Gator, Hot Wheels, Big Wheels, whatever you want to call it, into 24 volt. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys what we need for this job. It's pretty simple. Follow me. It's not too bad. Maybe take you about an hour if you got all the tools ready. So let's go ahead and look at the stuff we're going to need to make this job happen. Okay, so the first things we're going to need is going to be a secondary battery, a 12 volt, 24 volt AC adapter, 2 motors. These motors are going to be for their 24 volts versus 12 volts, and then a bunch of series of equipment. So I got some connectors here, some heat shrink, a crescent wrench, a lighter for the heat shrink, some wire cutters, some wire, and a multimeter. You don't need every single one of these items, but it helps to have a bunch of tools on hand for this kind of job. Pretty simple, so let's go ahead and get started. All right, so to get the battery cover off, it's really simple. There's 2 tabs on the side here, and then there's a bar. You take this bar, you pull it out. Now I set these batteries up a long time ago, so the way that they're set up is like this. So we're gonna pull the battery out. Now Perego has this little connector here. You plug it in, you pull your battery out, you charge it. But when you have little kids that are 4 years old, they can't do this on their own, so you have to do it. And these things die after an hour. So it's not something you want to do every day. So if you set it up the way I have it set up, your kids can do it themselves. They can charge it themselves. It's very simple. So what I'll do here is I'm gonna disconnect them from the battery itself. So let me show you what I'm doing here, so you can kind of be aware. All right, so I just have these set up just like this. It's super easy. So this is really the first step here, is to disconnect the battery so you don't shock yourself. Now, we'll be taking apart the back half of this UTV, and then what we're gonna be doing is I'm gonna show you guys a few things that I've already done to it to get it to this point. You don't have to do this stuff, but I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna show you anyways. And then we'll go ahead and do it all. So let's go ahead and take it apart and get started. These guys just pop right off. Just got to put a little bit of pressure and squeeze them. They're basically the hubcap. So to take the tires off, we're going to need a 1/2 inch. And a crescent wrench, or 2 1/2 inches, or drill. Now this is definitely a 2-person job, unless you're a big person, you have long arms. But you're going to want to get 2 people on this, 1 on each side, to be able to loosen up what's going on here. Me, I'm pretty tall, so I can handle doing this. Now only one nut's going to come off. It's a straight shaft, so I'll go ahead and show you guys that. Pop one tire off. There's a washer and a nut. And the other tire will come off. Like so. Alright. Next, what we're going to want to do is pull this up. There's a peg in here. Just push it out. Pull it. Comes right out. This will come out to you. There's a spring that's supposed to be in here with it. Mine came out a long time ago, so I don't know where it's at, but you don't need it. So we'll go ahead and set our parts over here off to the side. Now once that hinges off like that, you're going to have 2 pegs. And they come out real easily. Just push them through like this. Just like that. So 2 pegs, they go in like so. Get those out, set them down in there. Take your bed, set it off to the side. You're not going to need that for a while. All right, so now that we have the bed off, go ahead and take this back cover off. This is pretty simple too. Now this is very important. You're gonna wanna do this, you're gonna break it. So there's 2 pegs in here. Fold peg out like this. I'll zoom in on the other one so you can kind of see what's going on. Just pull. These are all the pegs. Pegs, Perego, right? Make sense? All right, so we got those off. This is really simple, okay? You're just gonna grab it right here and pull up, and then out. And then we're gonna clean this off actually before we're done here. Just flip it off to the side. There's your motors right there. So we're gonna disconnect these. We don't need them. Make a mental note or a picture if you don't know how this works. And make sure these wires don't touch each other. I'll show you guys how to remove these motors. They're pretty simple. All right, again, so it's just 2 screws. It's very simple. Take the screws out, one at a time. There's one. There's 2. Then we reach in here, we grab this plastic piece down, it's very hard to get to with one hand, like this, and get it out of there. We set that to the side, and then this thing comes right out, just like that. Really easy, okay. So there's 2 screws in there, Phillips as well, and we'll just take them apart, take them out. There's 1. There's 2. Okay, this plastic piece comes out as well, so just make sure you don't lose it. Normal. Broken. Okay, now that that's set up, let's go ahead and put these new motors in, and we'll do that really quick. Here are the new motors. Now they come with a temperature sensing device, which is right here, and this is going to keep your motors from being burnt out. So we'll try it out and see how it goes. I'll put a link in the description to where I got this. I think I got this on Amazon. They're pretty inexpensive, so go ahead and now it doesn't say which one's positive and which one's negative, but there's a red dot here, so I imagine this is positive. We'll figure it out. It's not really that hard to do. We'll test it out before we take it all apart or put it back together. So let's go ahead and we're going to put these in and see how it goes. Just want to get these snug, and there we go, it's on. All right, so do the second one, and then we'll go ahead and I'll show you the easiest way to put these together. Super easy. Okay, so and like so, 2 screws. Okay, so next part you're going to want to get your wheel and your bar ready. All right, we're going to need that for leverage. All right, so what you're going to want to do is put this down in here, and it doesn't really matter which way it goes. I'm sure there's some schematic somewhere that says put it a certain way, but it doesn't matter. So I'm going to put this end in out towards the wheel. So you're going to slide it down in there the best you can, like that, and you're going to grab your wheel, and you're going to feed it through here. You're going to put your foot underneath it so it holds it up like that. And you're going to put your finger down in here and try to Just try to manipulate it until it gets in the hole. Now you can also come from the bottom. There's a hole down here. It's a drainage hole, but you can use it to put a screwdriver up in there to push it up if it's too loose. And just like that. I mean, it's that easy, right? Make sure your wires are out of the way. But I got it in there. So what I'll do is I'll put that in about yay far. I'll grab the secondary one. Alright? And then slide it in there as well. And then I'm just gonna. There we go. Just like that, I got it now. Alright, so the next step is going to be the battery placement. So we're going to put our secondary battery in the rear. Now we're going to set it right here, just like that. And it is not going to go anywhere. We won't have room. We don't need to mount it down. Originally I was going to mount it down with some bracing, but we don't have to do that. So I've already tested this. This will definitely work. Alright, so what we have to do next is get a piece of wire, and we're going to use as our traveler. Now this is a 24 volt system. So what that means is one positive and one negative from each battery is going to have to go into the actual UTV, the Gator. We'll call this the Gator. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and run the wire. Now I already took the liberty of making some connections on the end of, we're using some 14 gauge DC wire here. Come on. So we got, like I said, we have these 14 gauge right here. I put the connections on them already, and I'm just going to start mounting this through. What's on? All right. And we got it through. Let's make sure this doesn't affect shifting or anything like that. It doesn't seem like it's. And we're going to leave about that much slack. Now I'm going to leave all this disconnected until, let me show you where this is routed. I'm going to leave all this disconnected until, or you know, all the trim off until we get this running. So it runs under here, through here, out underneath the floor pedal, and then here to the front. And here's the front. All right. So what you're looking at if you're doing this is you're going to have a standard Perego battery connection that plugs directly into your battery. Now I took that off a long time ago for the reason I told you. I have this wire that runs up into a 5.5 millimeter plug. So my kids, you know, they're small, they don't need hand strength, dexterity or anything like that. They can just plug it in and then it charges right up and I don't have to worry about it ever. And it's super convenient, and these are very cheap. They're like $1. So I'll leave a link in the description so you guys can go ahead and try to get one of those things. I really recommend doing this if you don't do anything else. Alright, so I'm going to do this step because this is kind of, I'm sure this is confusing for some people, is how do you get, let's see, how do you get two 12 volt batteries to become a 24 volt battery? So, you know, what you're going to do here is negative, positive, and it says 12.78. I don't know if you can see that. Is there a backlight on this? There it is. Alright, so we'll go positive, negative. Get 12.7 something. Now this is a little messed up. But anyways, 12.78. Got it? That's one battery. Now if I was to take this over here, it does nothing, 0, because the two batteries aren't connected. So what you're going to want to do is, the concept here is to take positive to negative and then positive to negative. So you're going to do a positive to negative. I just have an alligator clip set up on this just for temporary, to show you guys how this works. All right, again, I'm going to get this guy going so you can see it. We're going to hook up on the negative side here, and we're going to hook up on the positive side here. See how this is 25.86? That's 24 volts. Okay, so we're going to set this up just like this onto the Gator. Hope that clarifies. Okay, so here is the fun part. This is really easy. A lot of people might be intimidated by this, but you just need to know how electricity works and you'll be fine. So number one is we're gonna hook up, so we're gonna have negative positive back there hooked up as normal, which means this wire, the negative on that side is gonna hook up to the positive on this side, and the positive on this side is gonna hook up to, you'll see as I do it. I'm not gonna sit here and explain myself. So I'm gonna cut these wires and get all this set up so we can see. I don't want a ton of slack in here, but I don't want too little, so I'm just gonna cut it right about here. Actually, maybe right about here. Now, again, this is 14 gauge wire. 12 would be better, but you know, it doesn't really matter. 14 gauge is plenty good for what we're doing here. And we will hook up the positive from the car, which is this red wire, and the positive from the 5.5 millimeter that I made. So we will twist all these together. I'm going to use some of the scrap here, this 14 gauge wire that I had cut off. I'm going to use about 6 inches or so, 6 to 8 inches. What we're going to do is just going to trim off one side nice and big, and the other side nice and short. Okay, so I took the liberty of making a nice little connector here. Now, this is just a wire with one little connector lead on it, and that's for our negative jumper, essentially. Okay, so we're going to hook this up to our negative side, and our negative side is going to come off of this battery. So grab a wire cap, wire nut that we had from before, and we'll put this on here. And again, I like to color code, so I just have some black electrical tape here. let's go ahead and hook this up, see what happens, all right? So, we got battery, negative's going to the negative, positive is going to this negative back there. All right. Set it up in here. I'm actually going to put some tape on here to protect this. Alright, so let's put it in here like this. Cram all this back in there. Get our bar. Put our bar. You want to turn your wheel to the left there to get this in here. And I'm just going to close this up. Positive to positive. Actually, you know what? Before I do that, probably should have done this before. Let's go ahead and hook up our motors. So I don't really remember how I had it set up, so let's go ahead and figure it out. Okay, so our next step is going to be to hook up the motors, and the way we're doing this, I'm digging into this and just to make sure, but well, I have these hooked up on the positive side. These black things, they're both hooked up on the positive side. All right, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to hook up the positive wires. So on this side, the blue is going to be the positive to the positive, and the red to the negative. White to the positive, black to the negative, okay, and now I'm going to hook up my battery. So these are going to be normal on the side, so positive to positive, negative to negative. And we're going to tape all these up as well. So before we do all the final touches here, what we're going to do is test it. Okay, so I have it in. I'm going to get something to put underneath this so it doesn't go anywhere. All right, so wheels are off the ground. We're going to test her out. So right now it's in drive. So let's see. Okay, let's put it in fast drive, much faster, and then let's try reverse. Yeah, it works great. All right, so I'm gonna put the finishing touches on this, meaning tape, putting it back together, all that stuff, and then I'm gonna have my kid test drive it. Okay. Okay, we're all taped up. Next, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and put these pegs in, and this piece. So the very first thing you want to do is slide it in like this. There's two tabs. One goes in there, one goes in here. Make sure this can come up. This one's broken. And there you go. These four little connectors on the side. 1, 2, 3, 4. So once those are in, now we've got to put these on. So they're pretty simple. You're gonna have this one facing down, and then these come in at an angle like this. So down, and then your pegs in. And we're gonna put that on right now. So it's pretty easy. You just gotta come up at an angle, and you gotta get in from the bottom. So I'm not gonna get a good angle on this because it's pretty quick, but you're just gonna slide these pegs in. It's super easy. There's 2. Pull this up, put it in there like this. You're gonna want to get this facing this way. And then you're gonna put your pin in with these pegs. Like that. Alright. It'll lock in place. Well, it should, but mine's broken, so it's not going to lock in place. It's fine though. And they go on pretty easily, you just push them on like this. Well, like that. Make sure all your wires are routed very well and not in smashing in a way of getting smashed. So that one's good. That's good. First, up like that. All right, go. Yeah, it's a lot faster. It's better, isn't it? Drive. It's a lot faster. All right, folks, well, there you have it. So pretty simple to do. 24 volts conversion. It was probably, the battery I think was 30 bucks. And then we have the power charger is going to be about 10 bucks. And then, you know, miscellaneous wires and stuff, another couple bucks. And then the motors themselves, I think they were about $20 or $30. So, perfect. Anyways, if you guys like watching this kind of stuff, I've done a couple upgrades to Hot Wheels, Power Wheels, whatever these things are called. But, you know, mainly our channel's about farm stuff, and got a bunch of animals, chickens, and we're going to get some bigger animals here soon, but we got some chickens over here, and little chicken tractors, and then, yeah, stuff like that, mowing my lawn. Anyways, if you guys like this kind of stuff, go ahead and hit the like, subscribe. The like button really helps me out a lot. Thanks for watching.